Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, Your Excellencies and distinguished guests. Thank you very much for joining our session, or thank you very much for watching our session in recording. We welcome you all. The session titled Fostering Global Engagement, Leveraging the NASA Globe International STEM Network. My name is Larissa Shalkin, and I'm privileged to be a convener of this session. And with that, it's my honor to give the floor and introduce the moderator of this wonderful panel, Dr. Rusty Lowe. Dr. Lowe, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Larissa. My name is Rosanne Lowe. I am the Deputy Director for Science for the Globe Implementation Office in the USA. And I just want to express my gratitude to our convener, Ms. Larissa Shelkin. She has done a marvelous job, and I think we're going to have a great panel today. Your Excellencies and distinguished guests, today our talk is going to be held by members of the Globe International STEM Network. So that is Science, Technology, Education, Science, Technology, Engineering, and Math Network. And we are all part of the GLOBE program. Just a couple words about the GLOBE program before we begin. The GLOBE program is an acronym, actually, for the Global Learning and Observations to Benefit the Environment. And it's an international science and education program that allows people all over the world to participate in data collection and learn more about the scientific process and allow them to contribute meaningfully to the understanding of the Earth system, the global environment, and the changes that are taking place today. It's a program with significant history. We began almost 30 years ago. Today, this international network includes 127 countries, and these countries all not only work together, but they integrate their efforts into their local and regional communities and networks. I just want to acknowledge our sponsors. The GLOBE program is funded by the National Aeronautics and Space Administration in the U.S. with additional support from the National Oceanic and Atmosphere Administration, the National Science Foundation, and the U.S. Department of State. So thanks to our sponsors. Here is a map that just shows where GLOBE is currently operating. All the colored countries are part of our network, and you can see that we are on all the continents. Today, we will be having representatives from each of these regions speaking with us today. I would like now to identify the members of our speaking team. And today we will be hearing from Dr. Marco Conten, who is from the University of Udine, Italy. We will be hearing from Dr. Sanduni Madarasinghe, who is from the University of Ruhana in Sri Lanka. We will hear from Dr. Magdalena Waleska Aldana Segura, who is from the University of San Carlos in Guatemala. We will hear from Dr. Michael Notero, who is from the University of Wisconsin at Madison, United States. We will be hearing from Dr. Olawunmi Fasheki. He is a GLOBE teacher who comes from the University of Lagos in Nigeria. And finally, Hilal El Shukari, who is with the Ministry of Education in Oman. I'm really honored to present these members of the GLOBE International STEM Network because these speakers today are really leaders in global environmental science education, diplomacy, and their efforts, which include working with teachers and students and citizen scientists, both at home and nationally and internationally, are the reason why the GLOBE program is now one of the leading organizations fostering global science diplomacy through education in the world. These scientists today are going to be sharing stories about the relevant work that they have been doing in their countries and regions. And it is my pleasure today to introduce them as they provide, I think, really they're just stories or vignettes of what's going to be happening, what's happening where they are. We are always connecting what we're doing to our efforts to support the UN Sustainable Development Goals. And today, each of our speakers, who are all part of this global international STEM network, they're going to tell some stories, and these stories are going to range broadly. We're going to hear a story about how students come together in international learning expeditions to make a difference in science and in their community. We'll talk about student research examining water pollution, microplastics, and as well, we're going to hear some students who are contributing to geohealth by their studies of surveillance of mosquito vectors, as well as monitoring air quality and heat island conditions. And finally, we're going to be able to show that we have a speaker that's going to talk about some of the work that has been done that enables the GLOBE program to be inclusive of all learning styles and all students. We have a very strong commitment to diversity and inclusion, and Dr. Notero is going to be addressing this. And then we're going to finish with an overview of how these different kinds of activities, each of which have been done in depth in the next few minutes, come together, and we're going to show the range of activities that are happening in one country. So without further ado, I would like to begin this session today by inviting Dr. Marco Kanten to have the floor. Thank you, Dr. Kanten.
Thank you very much, Moderator, and Your Excellencies and distinguished guests. Good morning. I'm very pleased and honored to have this opportunity to present our activity. Yeah, just a few words to introduce myself. First, I am a scientist, so I'm working mainly on soil science and related to focusing on two different aspects of soil science. From one side, plant production, agriculture, so soil fertility, and from other side, the environmental aspects of soil pollution and the possibility of their remediation. I work in Italy in a small university in Udine, in the top east of Italy, very close to the border. And for that reason, actually, I'm presenting the project we have carried out last year in occasion of the Earth Day during April 2023. And this project was a cross-border activity. And we planned this work, especially to put in contact schools and at different levels of the two sides of the border. Actually, this border before 1990s was quite an important border between Eastern countries and Western countries. And so it was quite an odd border. But after 1991, Slovenia became independent from Yugoslavia. And after 2004, she became part of the European Union. So the process of integration of Slovenia was speeded up very fast. And actually, now, as we will see, this border is not anymore so strong because even Slovenia belonged to the Schengen Agreement. This project actually involved different steps, and these different steps were carried out during different days. I will show you soon. So the first idea was to use scientists, to use professionals of the environment, just to raise the curiosity of students from higher school to some problems related to the environment. So we planned an expedition to analyze several aspects of the environment. Then, after this expedition, we followed by an extension part of the project, so the students became protagonists to transfer this knowledge to other students of lower level schools. And finally, we had the third step that involved the citizens. So in this action, we try to have all the society integrated together. Could you give me the next slide, please? So during now the border is not possible to see from this slide, but the town Gorizia was split into two parts. So we have the Italian part, Gorizia, and the Slovenian part, Nova Gorica. And in these two parts in the environment, in the area of these two parts, we selected 5 sites. 4 sites were hilly area with different mountains area, and one side was a river, a typical transborder river, because the river flew through Slovenia first and take the name of Slovenian river is Socha, to Italian territory and change the name, but the river is the same, the pollution is the same, and we will see that the environmental problems are the same. So in these different locations, different aspects were afforded from environmental aspects. Very, very different, but tutored by different scientists of different disciplines. So we afforded the effect of wildfires on vegetation, and also on the soil, risk of soil erosion. Then we studied the soil health, introducing some chemical and biological index that can be collected, can be used by the students themselves. I will not go into detail about that. And then in one other site, in Slovenian Mount of Sabotin, we introduced the technology of remote sensing for to monitor the environment, and also the weather forecast, the approach to how to predict weather changes and climate changes. Then in Monte Calvario in Italy, we analyzed the impact of agriculture on environment, on the pollution of soils, on pollution of air and water. And finally, the river of Socha is also a river, transborder river, that carries not only microplastics, also mercury actually is a very strong issue, but in this occasion we analyzed microplastics. Can I give you this next slide, please? Okay, the second day, the students from high school became protagonists. They set up some stands that were, some of them were related to the experiments and the observation carried out during the first day, and others were based on other projects that the schools carried out during the year. It is in order to transmit this knowledge to pupils of primary schools or lower grade schools. And this event involved more than 2,000 people, and it was the true Earth Day celebration. Actually, in these pictures that you see, the landscape of Earth is actually exactly on the former border between Yugoslavia, former Yugoslavia, and Italy now. So this activity was thought in order to make students protagonists, active on this thematic. Can you give me next slide, please? Then citizens must also be involved, because it is quite important that the population is aware about the environmental problems of the territory. And for such aim, a special multimedia exhibition was planned, and where we had theaters, music, and talks and presentation, all focused on the themes, environmental themes that have been touched during the first and during the second day. The themes we focused are related to several Sustainable Development Goals. Here I selected the goals that, in my opinion, were mostly touched during this activity. Next slide, please. Well, but I'm trying to ask a question also. I'm sure that I am quite convinced that in order to foster global engagement, the role of scientists is quite important, because it is necessary to keep the students at the edge of the knowledge. I mean, to keep the students are very with new discoveries, the new teams of research. But scientists need also something to do this activity. So I try to make some points to say what scientists need in order to deliver their time, their efforts. So it is important to focus on teams of research. It is important to have good relation with teachers. I put these two words that for me explain most of what I mean: complicity and empathy. Very easy relationship, efficient organization, maintain a rigorous approach, and the possibility to register data. With this data collection, it is possible to develop new research, new publication, new papers, so scientists can achieve visibility of their research, can disseminate results, and can also get ideas for novel research topics. So I think this is quite important, in my opinion. Now, last but not least, I must acknowledge the true actors of this activity, Professors Sandro Sutti and Lorella Rigonat, that are the head and the heart of the project. And they are also our national coordinators, because actually this project was mainly planned by them, and I only planned the role of scientists, just guiding some parts of this project. So I thank you very much for listening, and I'm remain available for questions, and for clarifications are all welcome.
Thank you, Dr. Content. One of the things that I thought was really great, and one of the reasons why we wanted to have your talk to lead in on this panel today, is that you describe very well how GLOBE is really the GLOBE activities that are conducted by students and citizen scientists around the world are really led by cutting edge science. And those science connections are made by members of the group that are represented by our panel today, the Global International STEM Network. Thank you, Dr. Content, for a very interesting talk. I really appreciate it. Everyone will have a chance to ask him questions at the end of this session. We plan to have plenty of time for discussion. Our next speaker today is Dr. Sanduni Madara Singha. She is at the University of Rahana in Sri Lanka. And thank you very much for being willing to speak with us today.
Thank you very much, Dr. Rusty. Good morning, Your Excellencies and distinguished guests. I'm Dr. Sanduni Madara Singha, representing NASA Globe International STEM Network in Sri Lanka. And I'm honored to present you with some interesting work carried out by Globe Program in Sri Lanka. Next slide, please. Can we go to the next slide? Yes. Yes. When we talk about the Globe Program in Sri Lanka, it's a very famous international science and education program, especially among the blooming scientists of Sri Lankan youth. And it offers a unique platform for the teachers, students, and also for the researchers to understand ground problems, engage in scientific inquiry, as well as to contribute to global environmental research. So the GLOBE activities empower students, teachers, and researchers of the GLOBE team in different aspects. For instance, It provides experimental learning for students in 122 schools in Sri Lanka. And also we have organized training programs, capacity building workshops for teachers, students, and also for education officers. And apart from that, GLOBE activities also include research carried out by GISN members. So hereafter, I would like to draw your attention to one such project carried out under my guidance as a GISN member. Next slide, please. Can you go to the next slide?
I think there's a bit of a lag.
Yeah, it's okay. Yes, this project was successfully completed with the participation of 8 undergraduate students from 2 state universities in Sri Lanka, and also with the participation of hoteliers, villagers, and community leaders. And the project title was Microplastic Pollution in Coastal Ecosystems in Sri Lanka. I believe you all must have heard of microplastics, plastics which are less than 5 millimeters in size, and they cause numerous health problems to humans as well as to other animals. And these microplastics have become a common problem all around the world. And the reason for selecting this particular lagoon, Garandua Lagoon, for this study is that it is situated in a highly touristic area in the southern coast of Sri Lanka. So therefore, it is under high anthropogenic pressure. And apart from that, there is another interesting fact that this lagoon is surrounded by a mangrove ecosystem from one side and hotels and other settlements from the other side of the lagoon. So the ground observations suggested that there could be a microplastic pollution in the lagoon and also a possible risk of microplastic accumulation in the adjacent mangrove ecosystem because of the unique ecosystem characteristics these mangrove ecosystems possess. So that being the case, we had 2 major objectives in this project: to study the level of microplastic pollution in the lagoon as well as in the surrounding areas of the lagoon in order to get an idea about the sources of microplastic pollution. And secondly, to study the spatial distribution of microplastics, which is useful in microplastic pollution management. Next slide, please. Yes. Assessing the level of microplastic pollution and also studying the spatial distribution incorporated intensive field work for data collection and also laboratory experiments for identification and quantification of microplastics, along with mapping with GIS software to effectively present the findings. So the students who were engaged in this project gained very good field exposure and also hands-on experience in handling sophisticated equipment and carrying out laboratory protocols. Actually, these things are really important for them as a foundation for their future research careers and also for their higher studies, aiming at strengthening capacity building. Next slide, please. Yes. Here, I want to draw your attention to some of the compelling findings we have generated from this project. You can see the distribution maps, how the microplastics are distributed in the lagoon and also in the surrounding areas of the lagoon. Red color areas are the areas at highest stake, while the pollution reduces towards green color. And if you take a closer look at the maps at the bottom, they show the microplastic distribution in the adjacent land uses of the lagoon, means the surrounding areas of the lagoon. So the highest microplastic concentrations were observed in the mangrove ecosystems, settlement areas, and also in the terrestrial vegetation areas where we could observe some dumping sites according to the ground observations. So when we analyzed all these data and findings, it concluded that the effluents from hotels and also dumped garbage as the major source of microplastic pollution in the lagoon. Plus, there is a high concentration of microplastics accumulated in this adjacent mangrove ecosystem. And as we know, these mangrove ecosystems are really important and they provide numerous ecological services, and ecosystem services. So all these things will be affected with the accumulation of microplastics in this ecosystem, and all the flora and fauna inhabiting this ecosystem will be affected in the long run. Next slide, please. Yes, we have also quantified the microplastics based on the shape and color of them, just to get an idea about the sources of pollution. For instance, the most common type of microplastics were black and blue color fragments, which possibly originated from the dumped polythene bags. And to point out the outcomes of this project, we have produced one undergraduate thesis for the partial fulfillment of a bachelor's degree, and also we have published one abstract already, and another full paper is in preparation, targeting to be submitted to a index journal. And as a continuation of this project, we are planning to study the trophic level transfer of microplastics. And most importantly, all these publications and also a report will be submitted to the Department of Coast Conservation and Coastal Resource Management, because I strongly believe that all the research findings should not end up inside the drawers, and they should be forwarded to the relevant authorities for decision-making purposes. And apart from that, we are planning to organize a community meeting with the participation of responsible stakeholders like hotel representatives and also the residents, to educate them about the impacts of these microplastics, and also to highlight their social responsibility in reducing the release of these microplastics into the lagoon, and thereby conserving these adjacent coastal ecosystems. And let me take a few more minutes to relate this project into SDGs. Actually, this project directly relates to 6 sustainable development goals, including good health and well-being, and goal for providing clean water and sanitation, and also decent work and economic growth in relation to the sustainable tourism concept, and also responsible consumption and production of plastics in this case. And also this project relates to the conservation of life underwater as well as life on Earth. So these are some of the interesting work and research activities we have carried out under GLOBE program in Sri Lanka. And I take this opportunity to thank NASA GLOBE for all their guidance throughout the work. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Sanduni. This was a very interesting talk. Both the last 2 speakers, I just want to point out, both of them stress the importance of communicating the science to not only, to scientists, but also to the community. And this is a goal that we have across the globe ecosystem. And both of these projects have done that inordinately well. Also, another point that was brought up by Dr. Sanduni's talk today is that the GLOBE program is a science education program that addresses many different audiences. It's very often thought of as a K-12 program that is taking place in classrooms and supporting teachers. But as Dr. Sanduni's talk has indicated, we have a lot of engagement with undergraduate students as part of this program. We also work directly with citizen scientists, and communities become involved in research as they are addressing problems that are taking place in their community. So thank you, Dr. Sanduni, for this discussion. I'm looking forward to the end of the hour when we can perhaps dig a little bit more into this. So without further ado, I would like to introduce Dr. Magdalena Waleska Aldana Segura, who is going to be talking today about the work that she is conducting in Guatemala. And we're going to start with a short video. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and Dr. Magdalena will now show a very short video to introduce her project. I Are we having any technical difficulties with the bandwidth right now, or?
Thank you for the great video. Now we're switching back to showing the slides, and Dr. Roseanne Lowe will continue the presentation together with all wonderful speakers. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Larissa. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Lowe. Thank you, Larissa. Good morning, Your Excellencies and distinguished guests. I want to thank the GLOBE program for the opportunity to share with you, and I'm Magdalena Valés Caldana Segura. I'm from Guatemala. Greetings from the land of eternal spring, a land near yet far from achieving the full potential, a land rich in culture, natural resources, and human capital. It is an honor for me to present to you our work with GLOBE program and the STEAM program led by Dr. Julian Felix and myself. The program is linked to SDG 4, quality education, to ensure inclusive and equitable quality education and promote lifelong learning opportunities for all, in particular in scientific education. And SDG 5, gender equality, to achieve equality and empower girls, promoting healthy learning and collaboration environments. And SDG 1, we seek to fight poverty, promoting opportunities. We have evidence that we have impacted the economic condition of students, and the education promotes social mobility. Thus, we are contributing to achieving our dream of a better world by contributing to the Sustainable Development Goals. The success of our program derives from our partnerships, including the GLOBE program, Universidad de Guanajuato, Universidad Galileo, Universidad de San Carlos de Guatemala, Instituto Politécnico Nacional de México, and others who support the efforts for the STEAM program. Those also impacting on SDG 17, promoting partnerships, encouraging effective partnerships, knowledge sharing, and cooperation. With these global alliances, we seek to improve the world. Those partnerships allow us to be here today with you and have expanded the program globally. You can see some of our results. I have to thank the support of the U.S. Embassy in Guatemala and the U.S. Embassy in Costa Rica, who had provided support and materials for the GLOBE trainings, but also the support of Mariana Sabino, our GLOBE LAC regional coordinator, Andrea Vendoso, and of course, Dr. Rusty Lowe and her team, who had helped us, our students, train their teacher, and support every step of this adventure. Let me share with you some of our successes. You have seen in the video the happy faces of our participants, and we have reached 1.7 million participants worldwide with our online seminars and more than 18,000 teachers. Thanks to our supports and partnerships, as you can see in this slide, we have presented 3 projects to the International Virtual Science Symposium, being the only team from Guatemala that has participated. Our program has trained teachers and is preparing to participate in the GLOBE regional meeting in Santo Domingo, with a project linking the forest cover and the prevalence of dengue fever in Guatemala. As you are aware, right now this is a sanitary emergency nationwide. Mosquitoes are the #1 killers in the world, and our students are learning ways to fight against these diseases and the mosquitoes with the GLOBE protocols and the use of GLOBE Observer app. The students use the GLOBE protocols not only to learn about climate, but also to strengthen the research skills and get motivated to participate in these activities. As you can see from these pictures, students are presenting the projects to the U.S. Ambassador and the Cultural Affairs Officer in Guatemala. They participated from several trainings, including the teachers training, and this year the solar eclipse was the perfect opportunity to motivate students, to keep them in schools, and thanks to these partnerships, we did a series of workshops and trainings in Guatemala and Mexico with the help from NASA GLOBE scientists, who we want to acknowledge: Rosalba Yaretano, Kristen Weaver, and Marile Colon Robles. For students to interact with NASA scientists is the perfect opportunity to get motivated to continue their studies. These opportunities change their lives and perspectives. They get motivated to continue their studies and avoid dangerous activities like illegal migration and others in the region. They find motivation and opportunities locally. In the next slide, you see some of our findings. Students are correlating forest cover and Aedes larvae presence to the spike of dengue cases using data from over 40 years in Guatemala from the National Service and 20 years of data from GLOBE. That is the importance of these programs, to be able to retrieve data from citizen science and contrast it with NASA and National Services data. The students are designing a new repellent with the learning from last year's IBSS and highly motivated now to participate with international recognized scientists. They have done an automatic watering project also, and they presented internationally in conferences in Guatemala and Mexico that has a profound impact of students, allowing them to gain valuable soft skills. The students presented at 3 international high-level conferences, 1 from UNESCO and 2 from Instituto Politécnico Nacional. Right now, we are testing 2 different repellents, low cost, to be proposed to communities to help them get protected from the bite of mosquitoes. In this last slide, the partnerships are fundamental to grow in an ever-changing world. With Astronomers Without Borders and KIND, we managed to deliver over 30,000 eclipse classes free of charge this year. We need the support of all of you to make a broader impact with the STEAM program. The program has received many international recognitions, but being part of GLOBE and this session is a great honor for us that inspires and motivates us. Increasing the interest in GLOBE and how to achieve the SDGs with research projects that also help them continue their studies and get social mobility. We are motivated to study the relationship with cosmic rays and cloud formation, and also with our STEAM program. GLOBE allows us to dream a better future for our students. Thank you for this incredible opportunity to share with you our passion, our findings, and our hopes.
Thank you very much, Dr. Waleska. Once again, I'm just seeing that there is a really wonderful undercurrent shared by all the talks so far, talking about how important it is to not only do the science, but communicate the science. And the first 2 talks address the importance of sharing that information with the community, but also the GLOBE program is providing opportunities for emerging young scientists to also participate in the scientific sharing of information in national and international scientific conferences. So thank you for that. Without further ado, I would like to introduce Dr. Michael Notero, who is going to be speaking today as the Wisconsin GLOBE partner from the United States, from the University of Wisconsin-Madison.
Good morning, Your Excellencies. Oh, please remain on the original slide. Please go back. Thank you. Good morning, Your Excellencies and other distinguished participants. It's an honor to present to the United Nations General Assembly. Thank you for this opportunity. My name is Dr. Michael Notaro. I'm the director of the Nelson Institute Center for Climatic Research at the University of Wisconsin-Madison in the United States. I'm a Wisconsin partner for GLOBE, which is Global Learning and Observation to Benefit the Environment. GLOBE is an international environmental education and youth citizen science program, which initiated in 1995 and has participants from over 41,000 schools across 127 countries. GLOBE is a powerful tool for breaking down societal barriers and uniting youth citizen scientists from around the world. Through a focus on hands-on nature-based learning and a deeper understanding and protection of our shared global environment, GLOBE erases divisive boundaries between nations, provinces, states, cities, and communities, including man-made barriers related to race, ethnicity, gender, faith, and all aspects of society. All youth from all different backgrounds are invited to assume the role of a citizen scientist, striving to deepen our appreciation of our shared world in support of a healthy environment. Today, I offer you a promising glimpse into the ability of GLOBE citizen science to break down barriers associated with neurotype, delivering science opportunities into the hands of neurodivergent youth, including those on the autism spectrum. Next slide, please. Let me frame the challenge that stands before us. Autistic students choose majors in STEM, or science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, at a much higher rate than neurotypical students. For example, within the United States, approximately 34% of autistic students select majors in STEM fields, compared to 23% of neurotypical students. Unfortunately, college attendance rates for autistic youth are substantially lower than for neurotypical youth. The statistics are dismal. Within the United States, 66% of autistic youth have no job or study plans during the first 2 years following high school graduation, and only 31% of autistic students are likely to enter college. The barriers that hinder academic success for autistic youth are numerous, including lack of school support, social challenges, lack of school awareness on how to best meet their needs, sensory challenges, poor exam and assignment grades, motivational struggles, and struggles with organization and executive functioning. Now is the time to break down these walls and to allow the autistic community to flourish within the sciences. The tool to make this goal a reality are known. The scientific literature offers clear recommendations to ease the transition of autistic youth into college. Those include experiential learning opportunities, specialized teaching strategies, college tours early in high school, classroom visits to assess the sensory environment, career assessments, exposure to STEM careers, and social skill development. More specifically, outdoor nature-based learning, experiential learning has been shown to support higher science scores, positive perception of school, enthusiasm for environmental stewardship, reduced stress and hyperactivity, stronger conflict resolution skills, and fewer suspensions. Here I will demonstrate that GLOBE is an optimal tool for drawing the autistic community into STEM academic programs and careers. Next slide, please. I want to introduce you to 3 STEM camps for autistic middle and high school students, each built off the GLOBE protocols of the atmosphere, hydrosphere, pedosphere, and biosphere. During the summers of 2022, 2023, and 2024, the Sky's the Limit STEM Camp was held at the Welty Environmental Center in Beloit, Wisconsin, through support from the National Science Foundation. Nature's Navigators STEM Camp was held during the summers of 2023 and 2024 at the Upham Woods Outdoor Learning Center in the Wisconsin Dells through funding from a Wisconsin Idea Collaborative grant through the University of Wisconsin. Our latest edition was Zoo Explorers Sensory Friendly Camp at the Henry Vilas Zoo in Madison, Wisconsin, supported by funding from a family foundation gift. These camps are literally changing lives. Parents of the autistic campers are reporting that these camps are a safe haven from the rejection and isolation of a society that fails to embrace neurodiversity. Autistic campers are forming friendships with their fellow campers, both at camp and outside of camp. Parents are reporting that their autistic children are building confidence and self-advocacy for their rights at school and beyond. I personally have engaged with dozens of autistic children through these 3 camps and have gained a great respect, admiration, appreciation, and love for this highly diverse spectrum of wonderful individuals. Next slide, please. During the past 3 summers, these 3 camps have attracted autistic youth from 35 different cities from a 300-mile range of Wisconsin and Illinois, demonstrating the ability of GLOBE's camps to break down community and geographic barriers. Some families literally drive a couple of hours for each camp session, and recognition that such an opportunity for autistic youth simply does not exist in most communities. I continue to strive to expand autism STEM camps to more of these communities. The objective of the STEM camps are threefold. First, we aim to broaden science opportunities for autistic youth through a camp that supports inquisitiveness in a non-threatening, non-traditional learning environment. Second, we provide nature-based, hands-on learning opportunities, encourage the pursuit of STEM degrees and careers. Third, we embrace neurodiversity and the associated unique thinking and learning of autistic youth through flexible teaching strategies. In order to demonstrating the motivating principles behind our camps, I will now state several of our camp policies, which we share each week to the autistic campers and their caregivers. Neurodivergence is wonderful. Each kid at this camp is unique and special. That's a great thing. We want every kid to feel comfortable and safe at the camp. Your feelings are important to us. If any specific camp activity makes you feel uncomfortable, you could choose not to do it, and camp helpers will offer alternatives. The best science is done by a diverse set of scientists from different neurotypes, races, and genders. Notice the clear message being conveyed at the camps. We are not trying to change or fix these kids, as many in society view autism. Instead, we are here to embrace and foster neurodiversity and to establish a welcoming, adaptive learning environment where autistic youth can thrive. Can you please move to the final slide? Many of our camp activities are inspired by GLOBE and its 4 primary protocols related to the atmosphere, hydrosphere, biosphere, and pedosphere, with an emphasis on the coupled nature of our climate system. For example, within the realm of the atmosphere protocol, campers contrast weather conditions between ecosystems, designed and applied sling psychrometers to measure relative humidity, and map the Hermit heat island effect and benefits of green spaces with a remote control terra rover. Within the hydrosphere protocol, campers collect water quality measurements, identify macroinvertebrates, and estimate water transparency within local water bodies. Based on GLOBE's pedosphere protocol, campers use augers to collect and analyze soil profiles and horizons, perform soil carbonate testing, and assess soil composition. And within the realm of the biosphere protocol, campers estimate canopy cover using homemade densiometers, estimate tree height using homemade clinometers, and compare human versus tree elementary relationships. This is a small subset of hands-on learning activities at the Sky's the Limit, Nature's Navigators, and Zoo Explorers STEM camps. I am convinced that GLOBE is an optimal tool for supporting young autistic learners. If you wish to aid me in my mission to foster neurodiversity in STEM and to bring such camps to your countries and local communities, please do not hesitate to email me so we can discuss future opportunities to partner together. Thank you.
Dr. Natero, this was a fantastic talk, and I do appreciate your willingness to share your outcomes and also reaching out internationally with some of these very important outcomes and work that you have conducted. I expect that we will have some questions for you later in the hour. Thank you. The next presentation that is coming up is Dr. Olawunmi Fashaki. He is a GLOBE teacher, science teacher, as well as a member of our GLOBE International STEM Network. He is a mentor trainer, which means he also trains other trainers in the GLOBE program, and he comes to us today from Lagos, Nigeria. Thank you, Dr. Olawunmi.
Good afternoon. Thank you, the GLOBE staff. Your Excellency, distinguished guest, my name is Dr. Olawunmi Fashaki. I'm here to present activities of GLOBE in Nigeria. Next slide. Next slide, please. Our GLOBE membership in Africa and in Nigeria dates back to sometime when in 2018, the GLOBE program expanded the STM professionals to include early career. And in Africa, most of the, we don't have a quite number of the GISN GLOBE International STEM Network professionals. By January 2024, we have Benin Republic 2, Ethiopia 1, Kenya 3, Madagascar 1, Nigeria 8, Senegal 1, South Africa 1, Tanzania 2, and Uganda 1. So it is hopeful that this number will increase as the GLOBE program and activities continue to spread throughout the whole of Africa. In Nigeria, the programs and activities of GLOBE are spelled out in various areas. One is the act of promoting environmental awareness, environmental studies through various lessons which integrate environmental science into the school curriculum. It's making the school curriculum the secondary and the primary school curriculum to be enriched in activities, experiments, and projects involving what happens in the environment. One of the tasks of the Globe Nigeria is also by synthesizing through organization of workshops, which can either be virtual or face-to-face training for Globe school teachers, coordinators in various schools from the primary to the tertiary. And most of these seminars or workshop takes place at certain intervals within the year. Another good step towards how Globe Nigeria is making the Globe program to go into grassroots is the development of the version of the IVSS in Nigeria, which we call Nigeria Virtual Symposium Science. This particular program, this innovative program, has been done in 3 consecutive years. The 4th one will be done this year. So this is one of the main work that Globe Nigeria is doing. And also the Globe Nigeria works with other parastatals in Nigeria for the proper understanding of globe and of climate change, environmental studies, and environmental projects, whereby the locals, the communities are carried along to know what happens in terms of climate science and environmental happenings. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Coming to the activities and effects of the Globe Nigeria engagement, we have a case of one of our students, Emmanuela Johnson, that represented Nigeria in the just concluded Globe annual meeting in Fredonia in US. This girl presented, her presentation was very powerful and wholesome. And we can see here, this is Emmanuela attending to participants in the particular event, answering some questions. She was one of those kids that presented the Globe poem. Also, we have activities that span through the collaboration work or collaboration activities between the university lecturers and the Globe teachers in the post-primary institution. We have a case of Mr. Adeleke, one of the Globe teachers, interacting with a Globe international STEM worker, GISN, Dr. Kehinde, in sharing some of the ways Globe data can be obtained, how Globe is taken or is uploaded into the website. Another good work is being done by one of the Nigerian GISN named Mr. Olawale Oluwafemi. He's a GIS analyst, that is the geographic information specialist, presently working in University of Toledo in US. He had experiences with students in various countries, including Brazil, Trinidad and Tobago, sharing the mission and the Globe of the mission and the vision and the mission of Globe in terms of mentoring students, teaching them about environmental and climatic events, and putting them into how Globe experiments or projects can be done. He was also one of the working group in Globe. Next slide. Next slide, please. This is one of the projects conducted by a school, that is St. Peter's Unity Secondary School, Akure. The feature on this school is that this school has been performing great and wonderful at both the international and the state level. This school, St. Peter's Unity Akure, was one of the schools that had the best result in Globe IVSS in the year 2020. Due to the COVID, this school was unable to travel to US for the annual meeting. But in subsequent years, they have been performing excellently by winning 4-star badges and 4-star and 2 optional badges. The records are there. And this particular experiment that we are showcasing here is they were trying to look at the factors that affect population, mosquito population dynamics in Akure. The research makes them to undergo some research proceedings, as we do in the schools, in tertiary institutions, collecting of the data, interpreting of the data. These were done in the lab. As we can see, some of these students working in the lab. These activities develop their educational background, making them to be scientists of the future, having been taught what it means to be able to perform investigation about the environment. These are some of the results. The major level that were found in this study area, we have the Aedes, the Culex, and the Anopheles. And these are some of their pictures obtained by the student. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. This is also the interpretation, some of the interpretation of the results of this particular investigation on the mosquito dynamics in a particular area. Looking at what the student did here, they were able to use statistical tools to interpret, to infer what the data portray in terms of the result analysis. And through their statistical models, like using the ANUVA, they were able to see that the Culex and the Aedes were greatly affected by some of these physiochemical factors, whereas the Anopheles were not greatly affected because of the nature and the habitat of the Anopheles. Next slide, please. Next slide. This is another experiment that showcased the understanding of this school about the climate change, mitigating against climate change, and resilient. They were able to carry out a lot of measure a lot of data, air temperature, ambient temperature, surface temperature, and all other climatic factors to be able to see how they impact the urban setting. What do we mean by urban island effect? Through their work and research, they were able to obtain results as explained by these graphs. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. We can see from this result, the graphs, the nature of the graphs, the most important factor that affects the changing of this graph pattern is what we call the energy budget. The energy budget affects all the factors that were studied here with respect to how urban heat effect affect the study area. And we can see that the sharp decreases and increases observed in all these graphs can be referred to as the characteristics of the energy budget as it affects the urban heat island of the study area. So this developed the act of good and solid educational protocols in the life of the student. They could handle data, they could collect data, they could interpret data, they could use appropriate statistical tool or measure or methods to be able to infer, to be able to get what the environment is saying, the challenges faced in the environment, and how we can provide solutions to all these environment impacts as it affects the life and the community of the people. Moreover, the collection of this data was also done at the local level, at the community level. Hence, they interact. There is a great interaction between the locals and the community. Moreover, the students sent all the values, that is the data, to the Globe website through the Globe Observer app. So the students have been trained in the application of or the usage of Globe app in giving data, in forwarding data to the Globe website, where other scientists all over the world can get and use for all other experiment or investigation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes. Thank you very much for this very inspiring talk. Whenever I hear talks like this, which just show how students that are in the Globe program are, really using advanced data analysis skills, including statistics, really does show sort of the power of how Globe is trying to support science literacy and data literacy through science research, and that these are goals that we are achieving around the world. Another thing that was exciting for me with Dr. Olawale's talk today was just showing all the different equipment and sensors that are being used by these students. I just wanted to point out that one thing that the Globe program does is we have very robust and rigorous scientific data collection protocols. They have all been developed by scientists. They are research grade, but they are also designed for use with less expensive instrumentation. So this instrumentation can be shared and used around the world in both high and low resource communities. In particular, those wonderful mosquito photos that the good doctor showed us today, those mosquito photographs were made with a little clip-on lens that costs less than $5 that you could use on a smartphone. So Globe is really making a difference here. I also wanted to point out the excitement of how getting scientists into classrooms, working with teachers so that teachers continue their scientific education throughout their whole career, and how students are able to interact directly with scientists, these scientists that are part of the Globe International STEM Network. This is also a great contribution that I believe Globe has to science education worldwide. So thank you for this very interesting discussion.
Thank you, Dr. Lowe. I apologize. I didn't mean to interrupt. We have a wonderful speaker. Yes, thank you very much for putting his slide. As you all know, when we collaborate globally, technology plays a very important role, and really hats off to all of you for managing the technology challenges very seamlessly. Dr. Hilal Al-Shukeri is here with us, but he has joined as a participant, and we would like to welcome him as a speaker. So, Dr. Hilal Al-Shukeri, if you hear us, and I hope you can hear us well, would you be kind to sign off and check your email and sign back in by using a speaker Zoom link? That would be really greatly appreciated, and will give you a chance to present your wonderful material. I just want to repeat it again. Dr. Hilal Al-Shukeri, if you hear us, please let us know. We would love to hear your presentation, and Dr. Lowe will assist you as much as she can as a moderator. And if I may ask everybody for a couple minutes of patience, if it would be in-person meeting, I would just say, let's take a quick break to grab some coffee or tea or something like that. But since we are virtually here, while Dr. Hilal Al-Shukeri is managing it, thank you very much. Again, please check your email. You received a designated link for you to join as a speaker, not as a participant, because as a participant in this format, you would not be able to present, unfortunately. Anyway, while I'm using this virtual pause for literally a couple minutes, I would like to acknowledge the whole team effort behind the screen, so to speak. The GLOBE program team is truly amazing. And I would like to acknowledge Dr. Amy Chan, who is the program manager, the GLOBE program, NASA Earth Science Division. Thank you, Dr. Chan. I would like also to acknowledge Dr. Rebecca Lewis, who is a GLOBE program implementation office director, community engagement and support. Uh, Also would like to acknowledge Dr. Rebecca Boger, who is from GLOBE Implementation Office, and she is a director of science, training, education, and public engagement. And of course, the list would not be complete without acknowledging Dr. Mike Jabot, who is a Deputy Director, Education in Training, Education, and Public Engagement, Global Implementation Office. And of course, our wonderful moderator today, Dr. Razana Lowe, who is the Deputy Director of Science at the Science, Training, Education, and Public Engagement. How I'm doing, Dr. Lowe? Is Dr. Hilal Al-Shukairi is showing up? I don't see him yet. So I apologize for the delay. So let us move on in respecting your time. And Dr. Lowe, as we always say, let's go for Plan B. And Plan B would be Dr. Lowe to help Dr. Hilal Al-Shukairi to drive his slides and to narrate it. And as soon as Dr. Hilal Al-Shukairi would be able to join us as a speaker, he will continue and take it off from the slide that Dr. Lowe will end. The floor is yours. Back to you, Dr. Lowe.
Thank you very much, Larissa. I do appreciate that. Your Excellencies and distinguished guests, I am very honored on behalf of Dr. Hilal El-Shukairi to present slides today. He's having technical difficulties getting into the session. Not surprising, given that we are all coming from different time zones, different internet bandwidths, and different parts of the world. We hope that he will join us during this talk, but he has provided an excellent set of slides, and I will narrate them for our distinguished speaker today. So today we are talking a little bit about the GLOBE program in Oman. And as you just saw in the previous talks, we have really specialized on activities that have been happening. We have done a deep dive into specific activities. Students working in geohealth, looking at mosquito-borne disease. Students that are looking at geohealth issues with respect to urban heat island, students that have been doing research with respect to hydrological pollution, looking at microplastics, and ways that students have come together using some examples of wonderful learning expeditions that we have seen both in the US and as well as in Italy and Slovenia. So today, the last talk we chose because it provides a deep dive into the variety of activities that might happen in one of the GLOBE countries. And so I'm going to start here with the first slide that our distinguished speaker has produced. And Oman has been with the GLOBE program since 2009. And it has grown substantially to more than 57 participating schools. And Oman is no different than any other country. All GLOBE countries are coordinated through bilateral agreements between the country themselves and the U.S. government, because of the fact that the data that is collected during the GLOBE program is made open and available throughout the world on a database which is managed by NASA. So that is the real reason why we have this structure, but it responds to and recognizes the data sovereignty that we respect of all countries. all countries have the same structure where we have a national coordinator, a country coordinator. This coordinator can be in a ministry, in the ministry, or it can also be found in governance. These ministers can be in Ministry of Education, Ministry of Environment, or Ministry of Health in some cases. And then these countries, then they have schools that are identified and teachers who are willing to work with the program. And in the case of Oman, Oman has a tremendous biodiversity and a diverse geography. I was lucky to have been there on a globe trip many years ago, maybe 20 years ago. But it is a absolutely fantastic place. And the program, the GLOBE program, also Oman supports GLOBE, but GLOBE supports Oman's own vision for 2040, that is to equip learners with skills to engage positively with the contemporary environmental issues that are challenging us and leveraging modern technology to address education environmental changes. And so the school classroom and the GLOBE program is a way to get students engaged with those cutting edge scientists, with those statistical techniques and data analysis techniques in order to address changes.
Thank you, Dr. Lowe. I have a wonderful news to share with you and with everybody. Distinguished guests and your excellencies, we're welcoming Dr. Hilal Al-Shukeri from Oman, who was able to join us. And I see you appearing in the beautiful screen under another presenter name, but in the interest of time, we will go through your slides, and thank you again for being patient with the system and with technology. So we recognize your amazing role in Oman, and we will giving you a floor if this is okay with Dr. Lowe.
This is wonderful. Thank you very much. And Dr. Hilal will see that what I did was I just used this past 5 minutes waiting for him to show how Oman is connected into the broader perspective of GLOBE. Please take the floor, sir.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Good evening, everybody. Good morning. So it's my pleasure to represent my country, the Sultanate of Oman, in this webinar, and to briefly talk about GLOBE's journey in it. Since its inception in 2009, this program has achieved remarkable success in cultivating a love for scientific exploration and environmental awareness among our students. The program was initially implemented in 6 schools, but has expanded to 57 schools today. National coordinator and coordinators in the governorates play a major role in nominating schools. Schools are selected based on their suitability and readiness in terms of available resources such as teachers and students passionate about environmental research, ongoing teachers training, and participating in the scientific activities organized by the program. Oman's diverse geography and rich biodiversity have supported the program's growth. The bright side of the GLOBE in Oman, it aligns with Oman's Vision 2040 by equipping students with environmental skills and utilizing modern technology. Furthermore, this year marks the beginning of the implementation of the environmental science curriculum for grade 11 and 12. The beginning of the implementation of environmental science curriculum for grade 11 and 12, which truly focuses on environmental issues and their contemporary challenges. Next slide, please. GLOBE activities in Oman focus on teachers and students and empowering them with GLOBE protocols. GLOBE activities in Oman include training workshops for students and teachers on protocols and how to input data, field trips to Oman's unique natural sites such as valleys and aflaj, where students can apply water and soil protocols, to encourage direct interaction between Oman students and scientists, Partnerships have been established with universities and research centers. Some scientists visit schools and hold workshops for teachers and students. Oman students are keen to compete in both local and international events. Locally, an annual Globe Research competition is held and celebrated at national event. Internationally, beyond Globe, our students participate in the Junior Science Olympiad. In relation to that, this year, Tima and Mohra won first place in the Middle East and North Africa region for their research on the impact of soil type on rose growth. Next slide, please. Despite our participation in recent years, we have many success stories represented by our students. I would like to share two of them with you. These two stories are just a few examples of the achievement of our students. Their stories inspire us and show us that this program is not just an educational initiative, but a way to unleash the potential for many youth. The first story is about Mariam, a young environmental activist who began her passion for the environment as a child. She is inspiring others to engage in environmental issues. Continuing her passion for the environment, now she is studying for a Bachelor of Science degree in Environmental Health and Safety at University in Oman. The second story is about Muhammad, a 7th grader who ignited his family passion for the love of the environment. His efforts led to participation in a regional Globe meeting in Jordan. Next slide, please.
Oops.
The intention and good training received by teachers and students has had an impact on the achievement of Oman students for many years. This table clearly illustrates the excellence achieved by our students, specifically from 2018. They have secured top rankings in international and regional Globe competitions, with their research covering diverse environmental issues such as soil fertility and water quality. This achievement reflects the interest of Oman students in the environment and their ability to conduct high-quality scientific research. They also contribute to enhancing Oman's reputation in the fields of science and the environment on the international stage. Finally, I would like to thank you for your listening, and I hope that I have succeeded in providing a brief overview of the activities and achievements of my country, the Sultanate of Oman. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for your excellent presentation. And Dr. Lowe, please continue with the slides and your concluding thoughts and maybe questions to ask. Go ahead.
Thank you very much. I'm so happy that Dr. Hilal was able to join us today, despite the challenges that we had. His presentation was very exciting, and what you can see if you take all these talks as a whole is that there has been in the Globe program, we talk about how we're bringing together scientists from other countries, and these scientists are collaborating on projects, particularly projects that are involved in accelerating the monitoring and the achievement of the Sustainable Development Goals. And today we have seen several examples of this international efforts where countries are working together to do this. But at the same time, the last talk was very instrumental in bringing this discussion down to the individual impact that it has on students and teams of students as they build their scientific literacy and their self-efficacy, because these are going to be the leaders in the next generation to help us actually achieve what we are expecting to see in a new world with the Sustainable Development Goals. So we're working to further this global agenda. We'd like to talk a little bit about what is next. And I'm going to stop the slideshow here. But I would really very much like, we do have 10 or 15 minutes left. If there are questions, we would love you to put the questions into the chat. And before we move on to some questions from our viewers, I would very much like to throw a question out. And I would love it if any one of you would like to answer this question. The first question I have is that, given perhaps that fact that GLOBE is perhaps the best contemporary example of a program that supports global environmental science diplomacy through education, can you comment specifically on how the activities you discussed in the session promote international cooperation and understanding? And please, anybody who would like to speak, please unmic.
I'd be glad to share, Michael Notero.
Thank you, Michael. You'll go first, and then we'll hear from Dr. Conton. Thank you.
Sure. First, neurodiversity knows no country borders. Neurodivergent people are found all around the world. We have current estimates that suggest our global population of autistic people is about twice as large as the total population of my home country, the United States. And in every country around the world, neurodivergent people deal with societal barriers, rejection, and injustices on a daily basis. If we as a global society are going to tackle global climate change and other global challenges, we need to work together as unified people, bringing in diverse perspectives, ensuring all voices are heard and successes can be achieved. And I think the discussed globe-based autism camps are a really good tool for building up that diverse STEM field.
Thank you very much. I appreciate your comments. I agree with you absolutely. Let's hear from Dr. Conton.
Yeah, okay, thank you very much. In my opinion, GLOBE program is an extremely good opportunity to put populations of different countries together under the same environmental issues. So, in my opinion, the take-home message from our experiences is that environmental issues have no borders, actually. So they have to be afforded globally, and the opportunity to work under the umbrella of GLOBE, methods, protocols, and also coordination is a strong opportunity. And I would suggest anyone ask me to put the teachers under this view and to give the teachers this opportunity of collaboration. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Well said. Dr. Waleska.
Thank you, Dr. Lowe. Actually, GLOBE is a community, not only in the acronym, which doesn't mean GLOBE, but Global Observations for the Benefit of the Environment, but it's a global community. And one of the examples that I did was the solar eclipse. It united the region, but also united us with United States. So we had a community looking at the event, taking measurements in temperature, and allowed us to expand the reach of our program, but also the GLOBE program to Mexico. And we even had partners from El Paso, partners from Mazatlan, partners from Campeche, partners from Guatemala, and some people in Panama during those eclipses. So this is the power of partnerships that it's working in the GLOBE program, and it's aligned totally with the SDG 17, but also with the SDG 4, the quality of scientific education that we're bringing this region to. Thank you, Dr. Lowe.
Thank you, Dr. Waleska. We do have one question from our, from the viewership. I will read the question. The letter comes from Brigid McCarthy. She is a STEM educator in Arusha, Tanzania. And she wants to say that she found this talks inspiring, and she congratulates all of you here on the panel for your work. She also points out that she appreciates Dr. Sanduni's comment that research should not just end up in drawers. And I think that's a very, very important point. She does have a couple questions about the access of resources that we have for the GLOBE program. And I'd just like to say, have you, any of you in your countries, have you actually developed any local curriculum products or resources that you share in your community that also will be also shared with the GLOBE community? Dr. Olio. Dr. Olawunmi, please.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, thank you. Some of the activities we undergo, like the data collected with the equipment, are sent into the GLOBE website through the global Global Observer Hub. And some of this data, when they are sent there, they can be reused for other scientific investigation. And actually, our results are being shared with the locals, like that mosquito project. We have to tell the people the impact, the necessity of having a clean environment, disposing of the runoff water or domestic runoff water, clearing of bushes, and taking necessary steps to be able to avoid the breeding of this mosquito and their larvae. So also in the area of urban transformation, telling them what can we do in order to mitigate the urban heat island effect by having smart park, smart farms, smart agriculture rather, whereby we can reduce the impact of the sun's radiation as it affects the human on planet Earth. So these are some of the things we try to teach the locals and the policymakers, so that by the time they are making their policy, they will be able to put in some of these research investigations to how we can have a
That's okay. Sometimes we have these technical glitches. Remember, we are joining from all parts of the world. So if Dr. Lowe might want to go to the next.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, I think he made a very good point. Dr. Waleska, please go ahead.
Yes, very briefly, we've been working on a repellent that we've been distributing freely after testing it, so we were sure that it wasn't harmful to humans. And we are working on a second version of that repellent, and we've been distributing it free of charge with support from the US Embassy in Guatemala, so the people in the communities can get protected from mosquito bites. And we're working for several materials, printed hopefully next year. But if Bridget wants to collaborate, communicate, she can contact us.
Thank you so much. And I also know that the Latin American region has been very prolific in developing Spanish language resources. And we do have a community library that has just been developed. And I believe there's more than 100 resources that are now going through a scientific review before they are actually published. But we're really excited about that process. I also just wanted to mention that the GLOBE program has published all the protocols that are used to do the research. All the teaching materials that are available are also on the website, and the website is globe.gov. Even though Tanzania is not a GLOBE country, if you would like to contact your Ministry of Education or Ministry of the Environment and see where the status is of making your country a globe country. Sometimes it just takes one person interested to really change science and education in their country. So I would like to encourage that as well. Sanduni, you had your hand up. Is there something else you'd like to add? Oh, okay. Very good. And last but not least, I wanted to mention the last question because it's very important. Yes, all globe materials, or I should say almost all globe materials, because there are a few that are under copyright. For instance, the elementary globe reading books are, I believe, copyrighted, but all the materials that we have are otherwise published under a Creative Commons license, and regardless of the license of development of these resources, they are all open and available and downloadable from the website. So thank you very much. I just see that Dr. Contan also said that that his country coordinator in Italy, Sandra Sutti, has developed a microplastics monitoring protocol, and he has put the contact there in the question and answer chat. Thank you very much for that. We have just a few more minutes before we want to close this session. I would like to throw this question out to anybody on the panel. If you would like to elaborate perhaps on the significance of your work as it's related to progress toward or the monitoring of the UN Sustainable Development Goals. Yes, please. Dr. Notero.
Thank you. Our globe-focused autism STEM camps are most directly tackling several of these sustainable development goals. We aim to reduce inequalities by breaking down societal barriers and facilitating STEM opportunities for neurodivergent youth. We aim to provide quality education through hands-on nature-based globe activities, and that supports local environmental investigations that lead to positive climate action. And we support partnerships for the goals by building close networks among the globe communities, also school districts, nature centers, autism therapy services, and universities. And we reach out to the General Assembly to encourage future partnership with communities around the world.
Thank you for that.
Anyone else would like to add something? This is the time to do it.
I do have a question perhaps for Dr. Hilal about Amman. Would you be able to speak briefly about the ways in which the different countries in the in your region, the NENA region, North Middle East, Near East and North Africa, do you have an example of how you all have worked together in recent years on any particular topic?
Thank you for the question. It's my luck to be my first time to be a speaker. I'm happy to be new for global programs, so I am going to be deep. I'm now working with my colleagues who are specialist environmental curriculum. We are going to make a partnership with our neighbor countries. We are looking forward to integrate protocols of globes in our curriculum. That's it. That's it.
That's a lot. Thank you, sir. That's an absolutely fantastic answer. Thank you.
Thank you.
I think Dr. Marco raised the hand before the speaker from Oman.
Yeah, just briefly, but only to say that, yes, I would say it is this, most of our, all our research activity and activity that we transfer to schools and to pupils are in the framework of the development goals. So actually, these goals are our guide or our, let's say, the aim is to fulfill as much as possible these goals in the. So I think that this is my opinion.
Very, very good.
Thank you. Thank you.
Is there anybody else who would like to make a comment before we close for today? This has just been an extraordinary session. Yes, Dr. Olawumni.
Thank you very much. I sincerely want to appreciate the efforts of the GIO, Dr. Larissa, Rebecca, and the others. It's a beautiful opportunity to share our experiences on this Globe platform in this session. I also want to thank the African Globe Coordinator and also the Nigerian Globe Coordinator in person of Mrs. Aminulai Modupe. She's been very fantastic and she's been doing a lot of work, synergy, and putting schools together to make sure that the mission and the vision of Globe is accomplished, not only in Nigeria, but in Africa, worldwide. And moreover, or in addition, I want to appreciate Globe for giving us the certificate of mentorship this year. I was one of those people who received that certificate of recognition by Globe. So I want to say, Globe, thank you very much. And all the staff that are involved in this particular summit, I want to appreciate all your efforts. I love you all. From Nigeria, we say thank you. And from Africa, well done, man.
Thank you, sir. Dr. Waleska?
Well, very briefly, I see we have Dr. Tony Murphy here, and I want to take the opportunity to thank the former group that was in the leading part of Globe that allowed us in Guatemala to grow. So Dr. Tony Murphy, Dr. Chen, and Grace Kane, who I don't see here, but we are really grateful because they allowed us to participate in Guatemala where the structure was not really solid. Our deepest thanks to Dr. Tony Murphy, who has always supported us, and Dr. Rosondo, who has supported us with the mosquito protocols and all the efforts we are making, but also to the new leadership that it's coming. We want to thank you for the incredible opportunity to showcase our work and to promote partnerships along the world. Thank you very much, and I hope Globe lives not only over 30 years more, but over 100 years more. Thank you very much.
Beautifully said. Thank you. Dr. Sinduni. You're on mute.
Sorry. Yes, I also want to thank you all for all the tremendous work you all have done and all the sleepless nights you have spent to make this a success. And I just need to point out that the Globe program is a very important program. And I don't know to how many Sri Lankan students it has given an inspiration. For instance, I myself got the inspiration to become a scientist through Globe when I was at school. And here I am speaking to you all today. So
wow, thank you.
Yeah, this program means a lot to me, and I hope this program expands more and more in the future as well. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you. Dr. Lowe, if you would share your closing thoughts and give me 1 minute as the convener to officially close the session. The floor is back to you again, Dr. Lowe.
Thank you very much, and I do not want the floor. I honestly believe our panel has done a tremendous job in making some closing remarks already. Dr. Olawumni, do you have one more thing you'd like to say? Okay, your hand is just up.
No,
okay.
no.
No problem. Yeah, I don't think I need to say anything else because I do believe they have summarized not only the importance of Globe to their country, to the ability to create peaceful and harmonious international relations worldwide, but also, and as Dr. Sinduni personally said, how it actually impacts individual students and assists them in the STEM journey that will help us give the people we need to solve the problems that we see on our planet. So without further ado, I'd like to thank the entire panel. I would like to thank all the all the individuals that are in the audience who have been part of this session today. And now I would like to turn it over to our convener, Ms. Larissa Shelkin. Thank you very much.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you to all speakers, and many thanks to our wonderful moderator, Dr. Razan Lowe. Distinguished guests and your excellencies, it was an honor for all of us to present to you today. And please remember, if you need any of the Globe community members to assist you in your honorable work, the next generation is following your footsteps and really care deeply about all environmental issues on our only home that we have. So we really appreciate that Globe is recognized as one of the leader in environmental science diplomacy. And this is one of the reasons when we were invited to speak at the UN General Assembly. The message to remember, Globe is a powerful source and a really strong community in environmental science diplomacy. With that, thank you very much for your participation. Thank you, speakers. Thank you to our wonderful moderators. So with that, our session is officially closed, and you can watch the recording and follow up with the speakers and any member of Globe community. Thank you. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.